Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Crypto Scene Investigation, where we have a look at various cryptocurrency projects and we ask ourselves, is this really going to be worth investing in? Today we'll be looking at Cryptocars. Kind of a cute, neat little project. If you like what I do on this channel, please consider liking and subscribing. And also, if you want to comment, I'm really wanting to have a healthy community where, you know, we provide constructive criticism, and we don't just bring people down because we disagree with them. Yes. So we're all about facts and all that jazz. Also, legal disclaimer, this is not to be considered as financial advice. It's only for educational, inspirational, and entertainment purposes. So let's have a look at what we can find. Cryptocars. I'm not really going to explain too deeply into it, but it's essentially like a little car racing game. In fact, how about I let the video describe it for us? Look at this. Yeah, so, you know, you've got a car going down the motorway. Sorry, I think I might have skipped just there, but don't worry. Yeah, and so you can use coins to potentially purchase cars or vehicles or whatever, and you can do some cool stuff with it. So yes, that's all good fun and exciting. So if you want to play, then, you know, there is the opportunity. But we're gonna do a bit of a weird thing. So if you want to actually earn anything, you have to buy one box, which is 600 car. And so 600 car in USD is which is for a low price of $12. Yeah. So yeah, good fun, good stuff. You can so you can start out with that if you wanted to do it. But I'm not going to go too deep into the sort of game stuff. But let's go and have a look at some of the sort of stats. So here are some of the holders on BSC scans. As we can see, number one holder owns 32%. That is a huge amount. That is like almost a third. That is almost a third of all of the circulation. Now, something which is pretty good is that a bunch of these other sort of mainish wallets do have contracts. So the next two ones do have contracts. Next one after that is Gate.io, which I imagine is a part of their liquidity pool. I would be assuming, unless of course, you know, like that was just a name change to make it look like it was a liquidity pool. And then you've got pancakeswap, and then pretty much everything else below that is underneath 1%. So we will actually have a brief look on here to see where you can get it on. So you can get it on Gate.io, pancakeswap, and a few others which maybe you guys might recognize. Also, if we do have a brief look at where the price has gone, so it was at about 0.48, jumped all the way up to over 160, and then we're currently sitting at 0.02. The general consensus, so some people say, so this one person, QMG, keeps on commenting a scam bag of thieves. There is a lot of Spanish, I imagine that is Spanish, on here as well, talking about, so QMG again, they run away with your money. So I think that maybe he just had a bit of a salty experience. Everything else we're not going to translate because, yeah. We don't currently know the market cap though, although it says that the current rank is 3,152. We don't actually have an exact any exact details in terms of the market cap. But we do know a few things. So the max supply is 100 million. A few things. Number one, currently says that it's got 127,000 addresses, which if you actually have a look on their main website, they will say that they've got 728,000 players, 500,000 cars, and 272 million in-game transactions. So yeah, so these guys have definitely had quite a bit of raw. It's probably an okay word to use. Yeah, so I think that that's sort of okay in that essence. Yeah, so I think that it would be good because I couldn't find anything. So they won't let you comment on the Telegram or the Discord, which to me that's like a big red flag, dude. The fact that like people can't comment, you can't make any comments on these things, like that is like a red flag to me, dude. And I don't really use the word red flag too often, or maybe I do. I don't know. But yeah, so that is concerning for me, man. That is really concerning. Yeah, so the fact that I can't even ask, what is this wallet used for? So I have a theory as to what this wallet could potentially be used for, and that is under the tokenomics, but it doesn't say who controls it, because the devs don't control it. We will have a look at a little bit of that soon. So this is what we can find out from kucoin. We can see that we can see that we have $170,000 worth of BNB in liquidity pool holdings, and we got some cake there as well. And it says that its market cap is 2.4 million, but so yeah, includes locked, excludes burned. Okay, cool. So we'll have a look at what bscheck tells us. So no buy and sell tax, that's fine. Dev wallets, it's got a contract, that's fine. Ownership not renounced. Not too intimidating, but it could be intimidating depending on who the person is. And yeah, so it found that one bulbous looking address, and it says that currently we have only 92% burned or locked, and it should be over 95%. So here's a bit of interesting information. I did actually ask the person who made tokensniffer. Well, I think it's the person who made tokensniffer, somebody from tokensniffer. I was asking them about this sort of bit of jazz. So it says only 92% burned or locked, and so it does talk about these being the main ones which are doing the locking. However, when we actually have a look on tokensniffer does not recognize that as being something which is locked. And then so when I actually asked him about it, he said he said that he wonders if BSC is showing any contract holder as locked, but that doesn't mean it is a locker. So don't really know what's going on with that. I'll probably maybe have to catch up with the people from BSC as well regarding this, because that's a bit sus if you ask me. Yeah, so otherwise, any other details on here? I mean, that kind of looks okay from what I can see. So this one's got a 5 out of 100, which is quite low. And we can have a look at some things on here. So buy and sell fee looks fine. So verified contract source, no prior similar token contracts, which is quite interesting, even though it says similar token contract. So I don't really know how much of like a difference there is between these two. I believe that if I am correct, so I did find this out, by the way. So the white is actually the Cryptocars, and then the gray would be the Moonsticks. So yeah, so there's a few things there which could be maybe interesting if let's say you're a developer or you know how to read. I don't know if BSC scan is Solidity. I know that either scan is, but don't know about BSC. Anyway, so yeah, so source does not contain a pausable contract, and so that could mean that since the source does contain a pausable contract, it could allow transfers to be halted, which you kind of ask yourself, why do they have that in there? So this would have been picked up from the actual contract itself, so that's a bit concerning. And as we have seen, the ownership has not been renounced, which could include disabling selling, change fees, or they could mint new tokens. So they say that the liquidity pool looks fine. And remember, we saw that one wallet which was like 30%. So I think that is where it is picking up that one from. Yeah, so let's go to the next place. Moonarch. Love this website. So it says here that the token age has been around for about 6 months, max supply 100 mil. And as we can see from the others, so the owner and the creator is the same. It's interesting how they say supply and then the red is the owner, and you can't really see owner, because if we go to bscheck, I mean the owner says they have like 0%. So yeah, or like maybe, or dev wallets is 0.48%. So yeah, so it's just interesting to kind of think about that sort of essence. Liquidity, so 100% unlocked. And then so it says unlocked 59%, locked is 33%, and 7% is liquidity. So when it comes to the metaverse, I'm not entirely sure exactly how they sort of end up doing this kind of thing. But if we actually have a look and see when the latest transfers were, okay, I did not see that coming, and that is even more concerning. Great. I would have probably expected maybe more transfers to have been done between this wallet and a bunch of other wallets, mostly because if people are sort of buying stuff in game and doing stuff in game and changing things around and all that jazz, I would have expected maybe a little bit of ins and outs of that. So the fact that that doesn't show anything, to me feels a bit concerning, to be honest. It feels a little bit concerning, unless of course maybe one of these other sort of contracts that has something to do with it, but I'm not entirely sure when it comes to that. So if anybody does have any extra information, you're very welcome to comment that jazz. So we can see liquidity slash market cap, so 7.1%, and liquidity, it says that it's 173,000, which I believe is similar to the one which I said. I think the one which I said wasn't it 204? Yeah, so anyway, we have a look at some other things. So here are some things which could cause it to be a honeypot risk. Owner might be able to pause trading, so we know that much. Suspicious code found in decrease allowance, check it. So I'm not exactly sure how to read that sort of jazz. If anybody is interested, so when I do these sort of videos, if anybody is a developer and knows how to read any of these things, please feel free to reach out to me, because I would love to be able to understand exactly what some of these things are, and maybe sort of why they could be a potential cause for concern. So yeah, if anybody knows anything, you are very welcome to go and share that sort of jazz with me. But yes, I will leave that completely up to you guys' discretion. So unpause and pause, yes, we know that, and might mints supply, so ERC20._mint. So yeah, in terms of looking at these things, they're not really that concerning, other than, I mean, we've kind of already briefly read the thing which has to do with those being unlocked. We'll move on. So these are the Reddit stats. So the Reddit has gone all the way from single digits in September and all the way up to 993 comments per day. Looks like they had a big boost right early on there. 89 actually, so that's massive. And then they went all the way down, and then they're sort of sitting around the single and a few double digits here and there. Actually, no, there's only one. I take that back. Yeah, so we can also see posts per day. So in terms of the community interaction on Reddit, doesn't seem to be a whole lot of community interaction. So this is something interesting to sort of keep in mind. If you actually have a look on the Reddit, there was a post saying, "So what now?" So can we trust this project? So the 3 tokens from Crypto City Metaverse fall down dramatically on price. So I believe that this actually does have to do with Cryptocars. You was rugged. They just scammed 73 millions. Just did something happen? Made a video going through the dev wallets. Okay, so apparently there is a video which actually talks through it. But once again, it is not in English, but they'll probably actually go through yeah, some of that jazz. So if you guys do want to do that, I would probably recommend maybe seeing if you can find other videos talking about that sort of jazz, because yeah, that could be definitely a cause for concern. Now let's have a look at thine fine Twitter. So these are some of the socialblade stats. Now these guys have got a lot of followers. Look at that. Look at all those minuses, dude. Gosh, because you want to know what that's probably being caused from, is because people are sort of panicking. So remember, that post which you saw on Reddit was from 4 days ago, and then so that would have been probably around this sort of time. So so they've been having a few minuses here and there. They've still got an extra new 5,000 followers. And user created 2016, they probably would have changed the name definitely, because to have worked on this project since 2016, part of me doesn't really believe that. Yeah, so still a huge following for anything really. Yeah, and hey, they have a little. Oh, maybe the project is actually a Brazilian project, dude. Maybe that's actually what's going on here. Yeah, so in terms of the comments, a lot of non-English comments. Fix the game thing. Is this a scam project? That's an interesting sort of thing to look at. The Discord link is not working, so remember, I did go onto Discord, and their thing, you just can't comment on anything, because that's always a good look for any social profile. I feel sorry for everybody who's invested into this, by the way, because you guys seem to have all been kind of like pulled under the rug from the judges of this, but the best devs ever seen in crypto. Hey. Anyway, so yeah. But we can still probably be looking up from here. I'm not here to, go and like bring them down completely, just here to look at the facts of what we can actually find. So Cryptocars, so pretty much no searches, and then a little bit in August, so there would have probably been a little bit of talk. And they had some of their peaks between November to December. Let's see what we can find for the last 90 days. So yeah, so we've had a bunch in December. and then sort of steadily dropping down over the sort of February kind of ish period. Yeah, so that's the main website. I'm going to move past that. So this actually talks about some of the tokenomics which they have available. So you have advisors, core team, airdrop, marketing. You guys can pause and read yourself because I'm not going to read that jazz. Yeah, so pretty much, long story short, these tokenomics are looking pretty good. Because I mean, 12% is wonderful for a team, for us as the investors. But I still am unsure as to what the heck that 36% wallet is for. I still think that it has probably something to do with this play to earn thing, but remember when we did briefly have a look at the transfers, there was really not much movement in terms of where these have actually been going. So it's, you know, like once every few days or what have you. So yeah. So that doesn't really kind of like tell me much, unless of course these are like, I was gonna say special payouts, but yeah, I don't think that they'd probably allow you to get away with that. And then this is the roadmap. So they've had a pretty decent roadmap. So they did technology research in beginning of Cryptocars game development, PvP racing. So we're currently in Q1 of 2022. And yeah, so listing on KuCoin, I do wonder if that is still going to come about, because that is very interesting. And multi-chain support Solana, that could also be quite big. Don't know how planes versus cars is going to work, because I mean, from what you guys saw of the gameplay, it's just left, right, left, right, or whatever. So yeah, don't really know. Oh, sorry, they have cryptoplanes.me. So I'm probably not really going to be looking much into that. Yeah, because we're not really focused on that project. So here's my final thoughts, guys. Don't invest into this, is my own personal thing. That, remember, it's not financial advice, bro. Yeah, keep away from it. I think don't touch it until, so unless you actually like the game, okay? If you actually like the game, invest into it. If you don't like the game, don't invest into it. I'll probably be trying to do a little bit of background research in terms of some of these extra suspicious functions. And I mean, the fact that it's not a pausable contract, ownership is not renounced. I mean, Cardano's ownership is not renounced, for goodness sake. So I mean, doesn't mean it has to be a bad thing for that to be the case, but you need to be able to actually know the other things. So we can't see the team. We haven't had any interviews. We have no faces. We have, what else do we have and do we not have? So we have a roadmap, which is kind of cool. Still questioning whether or not it's going to be listed on KuCoin after, you know, that little stunt which they decided to pull there. And yeah, so remember again, that sort of 32% wallet. So yeah, I think if we can get an answer to the 32%, I think that will probably calm a little bit of our minds. And if we do see anything in the comments which does say it, and if I decide to pin it to the top of the comments, then you guys should know that would be a decent / good source to possibly use. But yeah, I mean, depending if I can message them or not and actually ask them questions, because, you know, your boy likes to ask a lot of questions. Anyway, guys, that is pretty much me. Thank you very much for joining me on this lovely little journey. Please consider joining my little Patreon if you want to help me out, because that would be Ccar and fabulous. Also, once again, please consider liking and subscribing, and if you do want to comment, please make that comment helpful. Or if maybe you just want to say that you like the project, or maybe you just don't like the project. I think it is good to have multiple opinions. But I do want us to encourage a healthy environment and a healthy community where we don't just shill for the sake of shilling, but we actually look into things and, once again, ask ourselves the question, is this worth investing in? Anyway, guys, ta-ta, fare thee well, much love, catch you on the flip side.